Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Healthcare Tech Lunchtime Talk. I am super excited today to have a very special guest with me, and it's going to be a treat for all of you, whether you're watching live or watching this on a recorded session. I'm excited to have Tara LaFon Gooch with us today. Tara is the CEO of Best Branding Solutions, where they use the power of branding to elevate businesses through storytelling. Tara is also a featured CEO in Forbes, Fox News, and more. She's a keynote speaker and a future TEDx speaker in 2024. So watch out, this is going to be good. She's the author of the book How to Grasp Confidence and Own Your Power. Welcome to the show, Tara.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, Nadia. I really appreciate being on your show. Thank you.
Absolutely. Before we get started, we'd love to know where you guys are connecting from. If you can put in the chat where you're connecting from, or whether you're watching us live or on the recorded session. And don't worry, if you have questions and you're watching the recorded session, we'll check back later and answer them. And to help us out, if you find this useful, share it with your network. That would be super helpful. And with that, let's get started. Tara, in your own words, how would you introduce yourself to our audience?
My name's Tara LaFon Gooch. I am, just like you said, I'm a CEO, so I specialize in brand strategy. And I like to think of what we do is we know both sides of the branding coin. So what that means is personal branding as well as company branding. So we know both, and we're really good at both. But aside from that, I also am a keynote speaker, recently published author, and I'm a coach. So I don't know how I have time to do it all. I just accepted another position today. I haven't even made an announcement for that yet.
Congratulations.
I know.
Congratulations.
But it'll be I'll have accepted an editor role for a press digital magazine. So I'm excited about that.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
but here I am, and I really just want to bring my message to the world and help other people succeed. So if I could summarize all that in one short little sentence, that's what it would be.
That is great. And I'm excited to talk today about confidence and how it plays a role. And your story is a story of overcoming, of resilience. And I thought it would be great, not only as a published author, as an established businesswoman yourself, to share part of that story. So, what would be like some milestones that the audience should know about your story?
Yeah. So, and first off, I before I even share, I just want to say that in order to be a confident leader, you have to be authentic. That means you have to share your story, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in order to lead confidently, you need to lead through a lens of authenticity. And if I didn't do this, if I didn't lead through a lens of authenticity and share my story, that's kind of uncomfortable and hard. I couldn't guide others to believe in themselves and to the same resolution I had. So I just want to say that first. It's with empathy, kindness, and love that I share this story with you guys. But I didn't have an easy childhood. I think a lot of people can relate to that. Um, I grew up in poverty. I was the youngest child of five, raised by a single mother. So
Mm-hmm.
in a lot of ways, I had the odds stacked against me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it can go one of two ways. You can look at it and you could think that you have all these odds stacked against you and that you're going to stay the same. Because staying the same, you know what it looks like, you know what it feels like,
Yeah.
comfortable, right?
Yeah.
Or you can do the opposite and every day fight to get a little bit better, fight to get a little bit more resilient, fight to get a little bit more tenacious and believe in yourself more. And I decided to take that road and it was a choice. So
That's awesome. Yeah, and
confidence is a choice.
yeah, and I think small incremental changes add up.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorite books is by it's called the oh now I'm blanking on the name. James Clear, by James Clear. It's like how micro steps add up. You
Yes.
improve 1% every day.
Yep.
By the end of the year, you will have improved close to 38%.
That's right.
So small, consistent steps is key.
Yes.
So was there anything in your, you know, story that was like, this is the aha moment that I am meant for more, that pivoted your path in a way?
Yes. So, oh my gosh. And I just, I love where this conversation's going already. It's almost like you've read my book. It's really cool.
I'm looking
I,
forward to reading the book. I haven't yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
but you're like hitting on so many parts of my book already. It's like crazy.
That's great.
But there is always that moment. So I think we've all had that moment, that aha moment
Yeah.
of that little flicker of self belief where we
Hmm.
say, I want more. I want more out of life. I deserve
Yeah.
more. I deserve
Yeah.
more than this.
Hmm.
So even if you're at your really lowest point and you have almost no self belief, if there's this little tiny, I liken it to a spark or a seed,
Yeah.
this little tiny seed within you that says, I want more, then guess what? You can become unstoppable, right? So you just need that little bit of seed. And you know what? For me, absolutely, I had that revelation. I was recently got out of a corporate world,
Hmm.
and I was feeling unfulfilled. I was recently diagnosed with major depressive disorder and anxiety, and I didn't feel like I had a purpose.
A
I
big
didn't.
why. Yeah.
And I was just in that hole. And, I didn't think that I could get out of it. And I questioned my worth in every scenario, every
Hmm.
possible scenario, questioned my worth. But there was this little itty bitty seed inside of me that said, I'm worth more.
Yeah.
All it
Yeah.
took.
And that's very frequent with a lot of high achievers, to doubt ourselves. Many people call it imposter syndrome. I don't like the pathology of it. I call it imposter phenomenon.
Yeah.
And reframing our thinking around it. It's a normal process. It's part of growth. If you are feeling, unsure, or you have some doubt, that means you're growing. You're out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
So, can you comment on, how do you deal with that imposter?
Yeah, so first off, it's normal. Like, and I think you're so right. The higher achievers really suffer from the most, especially women and minorities, but anybody
Yes.
can. And I talk to high achievers all over the world,
Hmm.
multiple disciplines and industries. And you know what they tell me? I'm just
Hmm.
waiting for everyone to find out. And I look at them and I
Yeah,
say, after 15 years, you'd think they'd figure it out by now, wouldn't you?
exactly.
We
And I totally
haven't.
relate to that. I've been in situations, I'm like, I'm in the room, like in Harvard Medical School with like full professors. I'm leading, their genomics platforms, have a team, and then it creeps out into you. Like, oh my God, it's a matter of time before they find out. And I'm the one leading the whole platform that feeds the pipeline for multiple professors. So once you believe that you belong, that those achievements, it's not the team, it's you. You have a say in it. It really changes your mindset and outlook.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. It's so normal, but it's anytime, and it happens to all of us. We're only human. Even though I literally just wrote the book on confidence, guess what? I still have moments where I'm like, did I really do that? Is that, and I'm like, no, no, yes.
you
So
did,
as
you
soon
did.
as these thoughts come into your mind, replace it with something that's real, an achievement, whatever it is that makes you feel better. Those negative thoughts will come and they will happen to us all. trust me, they're not real.
No, they're not. So, in terms of leadership and in the business world, you mentioned that many leaders they experience that. And how do you put it into context to prime them so they can start to overcome it, to acknowledge it first, and then to overcome those doubts?
Absolutely. So I think the statistic is the average person has around 80,000 thoughts or so a day, right? And then 80% of those 80,000 are negative. So, first off, it's reassuring them that guess what? This is the average person, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if you're suffering from depression or what if you're suffering from confidence? Well, that's going to be exponentially more.
Mm-hmm.
So, showing them where they are first and that this is normal, the average person goes through what you're going through.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really important to ensure people that they're not alone. So, I like to always start off everything with that
Mm-hmm.
because what I wouldn't have given for somebody to tell me I wasn't alone, at my
Yeah.
lowest point. Sometimes that's what we need in order to accept
Yeah.
anything new.
Mm-hmm.
You have to know where you are before you can accept new information, I feel like. So I always start off with those things and it reassures people and makes people put at ease.
Yeah.
And then step by step, just unraveling those layers and figuring out what the root cause of this lack of confidence is and just
Mm-hmm.
continually digging deeper until we get to that solution.
That's great. And once they have like some sort of insight or where they fall onto that spectrum, what are other facts that they are typically wrong about besides that it's so common?
Yes. That they're sometimes getting in their own way of success because of these lack of
Mm-hmm.
confidence and lack of self belief. So that's something big that I help people overcome as well. So once you acknowledge and appreciate the fact that these are in here and they
Yeah.
don't actually exist on the outside, and then, giving them the tools to kind of overcome from there, I think
Mm-hmm.
that is so important. It's absolutely key in that growth process.
That's great. And I know that a lot of people are very self-critical
Yes.
and they have such a very high standard for themselves
Yeah.
that they sometimes even self-sabotage themselves. So
Yeah.
they are looking at the negative to try to improve more than amplifying the positive and grow even further. How frequent is that and how do you deal with this?
Oh, it's so, prevalent, that self sabotage. And like I said, it's getting in your own way. So, getting in your own way, self sabotage, what are you afraid of? Right. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times, we hear people that are afraid of failure. But I
Yeah,
think a lot of times people are afraid of success too, because that
success.
imposter syndrome really starts to kick in. Because if you're succeeding and you already have imposter syndrome, then
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be amplified.
You'll be
And then
visible.
yeah, it's like a megaphone for imposter syndrome success. So
Yes.
people are afraid of it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I never thought of it that way, that, people would be afraid of success. I thought it's mainly being afraid of failure than the other way around.
Yep.
That's a good way. That's a very good way to put it. That if you already have those anxieties and those fears, and then what if I'm successful? What if people, even more people, will find out?
Yeah.
So that's hmm.
And you find that it makes sense though, right? Because
It does, because if you're afraid of being found out, and all of a sudden you have an amplified, message or brand or personal brand, you
yeah.
would think it's even worse for you.
Yep. And you'd be afraid to share your accomplishments because you'd be afraid of, again, that ridicule, that rejection and criticism.
Exactly. We always like temper it down.
Yeah.
I've had that too. And I was like, you know what? I've earned it. I worked hard for it. If you don't speak of your achievements and accomplishment, who would?
No one.
Yeah, no one will. And it's part of growth. It's part of building your brand, building your authority. And I know you help so many people with that. My next question, for business leaders and founders and so on, the journey can be lonely at times at the top, and they are perhaps they don't have as many people to talk to about these, like, insecurities or even self-sabotage, so they can unlock their full potential. How do they deal with that from your line of work?
Absolutely. I think that's where, a coach and a mentor comes in. And, when you're at the top, when you're a company executive, when you're a CEO,
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to go home and talk to your wife or your husband or your
Yeah,
family about your
I don't
problems,
get it.
because you
Yeah.
don't want to bring it home. And you can't talk to anybody on your team because you're
Yeah.
the leader.
Mm-hmm.
So the responsible thing, and I want to use that word, if you're in a leadership role, you have a responsibility to self
Mm-hmm.
and to your team, that to seek mentorship, to seek coaching,
Yeah.
to seek guidance, because the higher you go, the smaller your circle tends to be. We know
Yeah.
this. You need a trusted advisor to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You need that.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I totally get that, because again, I experienced that myself. Like,
Yeah.
if you are a leader and you're starting on carving new path and going against, that the traditional path that many people expect, it's a lonely journey. And having that support, whether it's through, as you mentioned, through, a coach, a mentor, or even peers
Yeah.
who are going through similar paths, not necessarily in your field, but at least there is some overlap in experiences, is key, because they get it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I agree with you. Sometimes you want to have that separation from, don't bring the work problems into family. And even if you do, in most cases, the couple or your partner is on a different path and they don't get it. And that makes it even more lonely.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, they
Great.
don't. So create your community, create your support network, seek mentors, coaches, and even coaches have coaches.
Yeah.
So, because you can't do it all. So leverage that into your growth, your growth circle.
Absolutely.
How does lack of confidence affect business? The bottom line.
Oh my gosh, in every aspect, right?
Mhm.
So I remember when I was a corporate sales director,
Mhm.
and I was suffering from a lack of confidence. Guess what I couldn't do? Present my offer confidently to clients. Guess
Oh.
what didn't happen as a result? I didn't get as many sales as some of
Mhm.
my more confident peers. Guess what
Mhm.
else didn't happen? I didn't ask for raises. I wasn't able to negotiate.
Mhm.
Um, I, so a lack of confidence absolutely has a huge impact on every business's bottom line.
Mhm.
I think of it in terms of sales because that was my past
Yeah.
experience. And I think, what if a sales team is more confident? Well, gosh,
Yeah.
what can't they do? But not just a sales team, marketing team,
Yeah.
literally at any level of team. And the top leadership probably needs it the most.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think, what if not only, again, not only in terms of sales, but
Mhm.
customer interaction? Guess what? You know what the important thing about confidence is in business?
Mhm.
It instills a sense of trust.
Trust. Yeah. Yeah.
If you are confident, if you're a confident
Mhm.
leader, guess who's going to trust you? Clients,
Yeah.
prospective clients, business partners, investors,
Mhm.
your team. And all of a sudden, you have an incredibly lucrative company because you're confident in your messaging and you believe in yourself.
Yeah. That
Everyone.
is that is so true. Like, when it comes to, if I may add, even in terms of attracting talent,
Yes, so
people
true.
are attracted to confident leaders.
Yeah.
Now, not only to attract, but to retain that talent, especially if you are in startup. There is a talent war out there. It's so hard to not only recruit, train, and retain talent. And being a confident leader, people will have that trust factor within your team, or even with your business partners, with your investors in the future, and so on, because they will have the confidence, and they know if they trust you, that when it comes to taking difficult decisions, and if you're showing up authentically, they trust that you make the right one.
That's right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow. And how, I know you recently published a book, and I'm so excited to get it. Um, can you tell us more about it? How did it evolve to get to writing the book in your story?
Wow. This is a book in of itself of how I wrote this book.
You should
um,
write a book
I
about
know.
how I wrote the book.
I'm going to have a series of how-to books in me. So just
Hmm.
everybody beware. This is the first one.
Yeah.
Um,
Sarah is just started, so
yeah.
there is like a TEDx talk, this book that's going to initiate many more to come. So watch out.
Yep, that's right. But so I started writing the book right after Valentine's Day of this year. So it was later in February of this year. And the
Hmm.
first weekend I was in a flow state and I wrote 11,000 words.
Oh wow!
I was not planning on writing a book, it just happened.
Yeah,
And I said on Sunday as I closed my computer, well, I think I'm writing a book. And here we are today, 5 months later.
that is awesome. And the one thing that a lot of people struggle with is to start. So you didn't even think you were writing a book; you just started, and it organically evolved
Yep.
into a book.
That's right.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, I'm excited about it. It's a 5-step method,
Hmm.
and it's my grasp method. It starts with gratitude. This is the method that I use to change my life and transform my life from that lowest point on March 16th of 2022
Hmm.
until where I am today. So what, 15 months later, and I've been on the cover of Forbes. I'm on your lovely show. I have opportunities come at me every day. I've written this book, TEDx. If I can do it, you can do it as
Hmm.
well. And I'm just here to inspire people to action.
That's awesome. Can you tell us more about the grasp method? A
Yes,
glimpse of
absolutely.
it. I
Absolutely.
highly encourage everyone who is here watching us live or on the recorded session to connect with Tara on Linktree, and you find out more about the book. Go get her book; it's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm almost like ready. I'm waiting for. I have a little bit of insider info, but
That's
I
right.
recommend go get it and turn around your life
That's
as
right.
Tara did.
Yep. But it starts with that foundation of gratitude. So,
Hmm.
this is not uh, something, a news story, right? I think
Hmm.
we've known for a long time, there's been practitioners of gratitude that have said for a long time that it'll change your life. But,
Yeah,
what's interesting now is that there's a lot of science back behind it too,
there
Nadia,
is.
um,
Mm-hmm.
that it can rewire your brain, and that it can produce neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. So sounds like antidepressant, number one, but also if you can rewire your brain, you can form new beliefs. And
Exactly.
if you can form new beliefs, you can break cycles.
You do. You really do. I'm a huge believer in affirmation, whatever you call it, affirmation or dua or other names, is what you tell your brain, your body will follow. And
Yeah.
without knowing it, all your actions will be towards that goal. That's why it's very important to write down, be grateful for what you have. So if you can help others do it, whatever you put in the word comes back to you.
Yes.
And it's that energy that you put in the universe that does, bring positive things to your life.
Yeah.
And I want to share with the audience here, I felt that, similar energy with Tara. It was seamless. Like the whole interaction was seamless. And even without knowing, we had shared some stuff that, you know, it was what the other person needed without knowing it. So good karma comes around in ways that you don't expect. And I believe that stems from the gratitude, what you put your mind to.
Well, it's like, I'm just a firm believer that like energy attracts like energy.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is energy, everything is vibration. And when you are operating at that higher level of vibration, so that
Mm-hmm.
that gratitude state, that state of joy, that state of love,
Yeah.
that state of gratitude, guess what you don't have room for?
Negative thoughts.
Negative thoughts.
Yeah. Negative energy.
And you're not living in the past, and you're not living in the future.
Yeah.
You're living in an anchored state of the present, which
Mm-hmm.
is another good sign. So that's why that's the first step. So action is really important. But with this book, what changed my life was I had to rewire my brain. I had to form new beliefs. I had to prepare it for the action steps later, because sometimes I feel like if we take action first,
Yeah.
and we may not be mentally ready for and prepared really
Mm-hmm.
to take on those bigger things. So I recommend starting with that foundation of gratitude, not just to build confidence, to build a better life,
Better life in general. Yeah.
to
That's so
build more
true.
success, more fulfillment, more
Mm-hmm.
purpose.
Do you have a gratitude ritual like built into your daily?
I
Uh,
do.
yeah.
I'm so grateful, like, for everything. And, the more you practice it, I'll be working out at the gym, and I'll say to myself, I am so grateful my body can do this.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's literally anything. And then you start to
Everything.
find the gratitude in everything. But in the morning before I even get started work, I meditate, do it for 20
Mm-hmm.
minutes. And my meditation is just thinking about all the things that I'm grateful for. And I just am so excited to live every
That's
day.
awesome. Yeah, if anything, the past 2 years taught us how valuable the things we took for granted are. So, yeah, gratitude is very, very important. So, the next one, responsibility. Tell
Yes.
us more about it.
It's a responsibility mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mindset that says that it's an ownership mindset. It's a mindset that takes responsibility for decisions, for
Mm-hmm.
outcomes, takes responsibility of those thought processes that we have, takes
Yeah.
responsibility of our actions. So, responsibility mindset is absolutely key. I think a lot of people feel like things happen to them and don't take
Yeah.
responsibility for their own actions. And then what that leads to do is a lot of wasted activity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Yeah.
not narrowing a focus. So, the responsibility is an ownership mindset, but it's also a strategy, it's a plan, because
Mm-hmm.
we can put out a lot of action, but is it going to be narrowed and funneled and take us
Yeah.
to the destination in the quickest, most efficient amount of time? Or is it going to be a lot of energy everywhere?
I see.
So,
Mm-hmm.
having that ownership mindset is just that. And teaching people that life doesn't happen to us,
Yeah.
we are the creators of our own destiny,
Mm-hmm.
and to take ownership of it.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think you nailed it when you mentioned, have a focus. Don't have your energy all over the place. Many people think we need to manage our time, we need to manage our tasks. A lot of people underestimate that you need to manage your energy first. Where are
Yes.
you putting your energy? You can be going on a hamster wheel, but are you going in the right direction? Make sure, and that's where strategy comes in. Make sure you're heading in the right direction. It
Yep.
doesn't have to be fast, but consistent and mindful that whatever you're doing, don't think in a month or a year plan, think a 10-year plan. And then this is like your North Star that you should be focused on. An interesting example that comes to mind when they tested the importance of being focused is they took marathon runners. They all equally matched in their athletic abilities. One group, they were like, just run. The marathon, just go. The other one, they were trained that keep the finish line in your mind at all times. They perform 20% better
Yep.
just because of that mindset shift. So, that energy, how you channel your energy, what you tell yourself is very, very important.
Yes. I think they focus on the start. How do I get started? How do I get started? Focus on the ending. Imagine yourself winning that race. Imagine yourself as,
Exactly.
yeah, whatever goal it is. I don't, when I think of my TED Talk, for example, I
Mm-hmm.
don't imagine my start of my TED Talk. I
Yeah.
imagine everybody in the audience standing up, clapping, me going like this,
Yes.
yay,
Yes.
maybe doing a dance.
Awesome. That is awesome. You even have a red carpet for the TED Talk.
I'm
So
ready.
it's not just thinking, it's taking action
Yes,
towards that goal.
yes,
So it's part of your routine, it's part of the journey.
that's
And
right.
that takes us to the third point, to action. So
Yep.
can you comment on the action in your grasp?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I talk about this in my book, the 1% method, which you mentioned. That's why I
Hmm.
said, did you read my book?
Yeah.
Um, uh, that's what I did, because when I was at that depressed state and I felt like I just, didn't have value, didn't have worth, right? All
Hmm.
I could do and manage was 1%. That's it. But you
Hmm.
know what? That's all I had to manage.
Yeah.
So don't think of this as a leap and a bound and a marathon and a
Hmm.
climbing Mount Everest. You can do one
That
step more a day.
1%.
Just, yes,
Hmm.
1%. And that's what I did. So I started cleaning up my diet. I started exercising. I started improving my wardrobe, because I
That's
got rid of
awesome.
things. Yeah, I got rid of things that I didn't like, that made me didn't feel less confident.
Hmm. That's awesome. And I
Little,
know you have a live event about the impact of how you dress on confidence. So
yep,
anybody here watching us or watching the recorded session, go to Tara's LinkedIn and you'll find the event there.
yep,
That's awesome. Yeah, I think a lot of people, they overestimate the the thinking, the dreaming, and underestimate the action. If you
yep.
don't take action, it's a dream.
It's a dream.
It doesn't have to be a big action, like a small step. Not even a small step, a micro step. That book, it came back to me. It's Atomic Habits by James Clear.
That's, yes, yes.
Yes. So he has like this, and I read that book 3 times. That's how good it is. But it's micro actions that you can do daily. It could be sending that email, it could be drinking that cup of water, something you can do in under a minute or two. But guess what? If you do it consistently, it really adds up. And before you know it, you're transformed.
You can't be 37 times improved and not be a different person.
Exactly, exactly.
It's not, it goes against the laws of nature itself.
And you will find more resistance if you're going through like major shifts,
Yeah,
because our bodies, from an evolutionary standpoint, are meant to save energy just in case there is a shortage of food in the hunting stages. So we are wired to save energy. So why not rewire your brain to do really small incremental stuff more frequently,
exactly. I
while
love
keep
that.
yeah, while keeping your eyes on the prize, the sight. So
Yeah.
that takes us to the next step number 4
Yeah.
in your gratitude grasp method.
Mhm.
Can you tell us more about the sight step?
Yeah, sight's really important. So, sight, visualization, in sports, if we think about an athlete, right? An
Hmm.
athlete doesn't go into a game and imagine how they're going to lose. Can
Hmm.
you imagine what that game would look like? That would be a
That would
flop,
be
right?
horrible.
It'd be the lowest viewed sports show on
And
TV.
people sense the energy, whether somebody, is there and they want to win it, or there just because they have to be there.
Yes, exactly.
Hmm.
So, sight and visualization, who is that most confident version of you? And when I started getting really granular on that, because again, I was so powerfully unconfident, but I said, okay, what does this person look like? What do they dress like? How do
Yeah.
they speak?
Yeah.
What do they do, like activities? Who are their friends?
Yeah.
How do they dress, etc., etc.? And I started writing down these attributes.
Hmm.
I started cleaning out my wardrobe. I cleaned up my diet, got rid of refined sugars, removed alcohol. I stopped watching negative shows on television and movies. I literally removed everything negative from my life.
Hmm.
And I wrote it down what that site looked like. Who was this person? And
Mm-hmm.
what does she do?
Yeah,
And guess what? I took steps to become her
that is awesome.
through action.
I think having sight, I'm going to share with the audience an anecdote that happened to me not this weekend, the previous weekend. So my two boys, they play soccer. So huge fans. We are in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and there was two European League teams playing in Detroit, an hour from here. So I took them to the game, and it was their first time watching, big league teams. And I told them, boys, and I have a daughter too, you're going to be on the jumbotron, the big, screen on the thing. And if you are, just have something. Let's do, something that's relevant to you to show that your love for soccer. They're like, Mom, there is almost 30,000 plus people. There is a very slim chance we're going to be on that jumbotron. Guess what? Second half of the game, the guy, I heard like this loud noise, few rows behind us. And there was this guy with the camera on his shoulder. And I said, hey, can you make their day? The huge soccer fans here, their first time ever. Can you put them on the jumbotron? He went down few steps, 10 steps, and came back. And he put them on the jumbotron. So the site is so powerful when
Yeah.
you put you visualize something and then you take action. You don't just cite and then don't take action. It happens because when you have that positive energy in the universe, it comes back to you.
We are so aligned, my friend. Oh my gosh.
That
I
is
It's insane. When you speak, I'm just like, wow, that sounds like something I would say.
that is awesome. I told you when we were setting up this, it was seamless.
I
And I
love
feel that we are on the same wavelength, energy
it.
wise, thinking wise, action wise.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So sight
Absolutely.
without purpose is useless.
Absolutely. And the thing about it is if you're in a place where you're struggling, if you're suffering from depression, purpose can seem like a lofty term. It seems like
Hmm.
success and confidence and purpose are for other people, maybe, and you
Yeah,
think you're just kind of stuck right there. So, purpose can seem like a lofty term, but guess what? I like to liken it to the cells of our bodies. So, I'm just a science nerd. Everything I talk about brings back to science.
hmm,
But each one of our cells in our bodies has a specific and defined purpose,
yeah,
right? So there's heart cells, lung cells, skin cells, etc.
hmm,
And they all have a different specific unique purpose. If a skin cell decided it wanted to be a heart cell, it would be poorly equipped to handle that task and it would probably
hmm,
think it was a failure. It might think it's stupid. It might think it
hmm,
doesn't have the tools to succeed, and it'll think and it'll go through the rest of its life not feeling equipped and adequate. It's kind of like how humans are if we're doing something that's not our purpose.
yeah,
And it brings down our confidence over time. And we think we're failures. We think we're not smart. We think we're all these things. But you have to go through these steps in order to find that self-actualization moment where you realize that you do have a purpose and that
hmm,
you're just not aligned with it. So how can you become aligned with it? So I
yeah,
teach that in my book, how to steps to finding your purpose. Um, and sometimes it's the pain of your past, it's your adversity, it's your struggle. For me, it was right. If
hmm,
I didn't share my story, I wouldn't be able to help people accomplish their purpose.
exactly, yeah. And I think, yeah, alignment, you mentioned like being aligned, it's so key that, what you do, irrespective of what field you're at. It brings out one of the best advice, career advice I had was at the very end of our executive MBA program at the University of Pittsburgh. And we had this full professor, he's an advisor to Fortune 500 in business strategy. And I asked him, what would be your advice, moving forward? And his one advice is make sure you're aligned in values with
Yeah.
whoever path you choose to, that it is aligned with your purpose.
Yeah.
because you're going to have difficult decisions. You're going to have ups and downs. And that purpose, that North Star, is what's going to keep you going.
So in the purpose chapter, it's actually broken into 2 chapters, and one is called Purpose Finding Your Core Values. I'm
Oh
not
my God,
kidding.
I swear I did not read the book yet.
I can't believe it.
That's how aligned we are, Tara.
I can't believe it. But I'm at a loss for words, and that's not easy. So congratulations on that, Nadia.
You know, and
But
I think
so amazing.
I, the same thing, whoever you work with, I think when you find that alignment, when you find that purpose, when you have that positive energy and that awareness,
Yeah.
I really believe you can take it 10x, not two, not five, 10x in your impact. And it's in business, it's the money is a byproduct of
Yeah.
what you do, of all those things. And once you realign, you anchor with gratitude, you take responsibility for for your actions,
Yeah.
and you visualize it.
Yeah.
It's you visualize it and you make sure it's aligned with your purpose. It's a game changer, I think. And this is why I highly again, for full disclaimer, I did not read the book yet. I ordered it, did not get it yet. But I strongly believe that it can be a New York Times bestseller, and it has the potential to help so many. And I reached out to Tara unsolicited advice, I would say, because I strongly believe that it has the potential for that. And you guys watching this, you'll probably come back like 5, 10 years from now, and you'll be like, this was when she just started on her authorship. If this was her first book, and there will be more to come. Hey, Boba, I have an interruption here.
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
I get
Yeah.
it.
So, everyone, if you haven't, go ahead. You can check Sarah's what she does, Tara, in on her link tree, and I believe there is a link to her book that's coming out this Friday.
Well,
What was it? Tell us the story about
oh
like
my gosh. Can you believe this happened to me? So
that's okay.
I I put my book on Kindle for pre-order 2 weeks
Mm-hmm,
ago, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, and that was done.
mm-hmm,
But formatting a book for paper and hardcover is different. So
mm-hmm.
Kindle was easy. That went first. That was like
Yeah.
the first wave. And then we did the formatting for the paper book.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of pushing pre-order, I pressed publish because we were working until like midnight. So I was tired, I guess.
Yeah.
But you know what? There are no mistakes. And um, it just meant that the universe,
It was ready to go out
it
to the
was ready
world.
to go out, that it was
Yeah.
done, that I
Mm-hmm.
needed to stop thinking about it and start helping people because it can't be
Exactly.
helped if it goes unpublished. So
Exactly.
gratitude. Talk about gratitude, having
I,
gratitude for a
I
mistake.
know. I know. I saw that. When I saw that, I'm like, she's ready. She's probably overthinking it, like trying to make
Yeah.
sure 100%,
Yeah.
it's ready. But the universe is telling you, push that button.
Push that button. So
Yeah.
it's out. It's available on paperback and hardcover. Hardcover just launched today, so
Hmm.
it's done. And I actually ordered my author copies. I'm so excited.
That is awesome. And yeah, and I know you have a course to complement that, to encourage people to transform their lives as you did through your book. Can you
Yep.
tell us more about it?
Yes, so the course is going to cover, there's an introductory video, and then every chapter is going to have a corresponding video.
Hmm.
So it's just deeper learning, and I just wanted people to hear the thoughts on my chapter in my voice, see my
Hmm.
video, and hear me just go a little bit deeper. So I encourage everybody to read the chapter, then watch the video, learn it on a
Hmm.
deeper level, and then immediately don't keep this information to yourself. Once
Apply.
you learn one golden or two nuggets of wisdom in a
Hmm.
chapter, go tell somebody else.
Exactly.
Spread
Yeah,
this word. Yes, spread this message.
that's awesome. And the other thing that I would say, a lot of people have different learning styles. And
Yes,
for
yes,
busy professionals, they may be walking their dog or they can't have the paperback, so you can listen to it and you're like, it's almost like pocket learning. to complement the book. So I highly recommend that. Very rarely that you come across situations that you know you are at the turning point. And I feel you are at the turning point, Tara, with this book, with many more to come. So it's like many in business, you get like a lot of flat line, and then you get an inflection point, and you go up.
Yes.
And I really believe you are there. You're at an inflection point, and I would love for my network to be part of that journey and to support you through that. Not only to support you, but to experience the transformation that you've had coming from, depression all the way to where you are now. Featured on Forbes, future TEDx speaker. So go get her book, and you will get a huge bonus with the digital course that complements that.
I also decided to do something else too.
What is it?
Yeah, so everybody that buys my book is going to be entered into a drawing, and I'm going to pick one lucky reader and give them a $1,200 prize giveaway.
Oh, that's awesome. How do we know which ones did enter? Did they have to enter a secret word or something?
Everybody that buys the physical copy of my book, I would like you to send me a receipt. So
Okay.
if you send me a direct message, that's
Mhm.
totally fine, or any kind of as long as you send me a receipt, and I will take all of those, enter them into the contest, and then I will pull
Nice.
one lucky person.
That
But
is awesome.
my goal is to literally change somebody's life with this prize giveaway. But I'm
That's
pretty generous, so I may keep doing this. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes.
that's awesome. And within my network, if there are, professional or companies that have conferences, for leaders or for, professional development events. Tara is a go-to person as a keynote speaker, and I really believe it would be a great add-on to the speaking engagement to order copies for your attendees, conference attendees.
Yeah.
Hint, just a hint, because
That's a
they
great
would
idea.
benefit from 80% of people experiencing imposter syndrome.
Yes.
And the more achieve it, the higher the achiever you are, the higher that percentage. So unlock that, confidence in your people, in your professionals within your organization with a really small investment. So
That's right. I love that. And I actually just got an award for empowering corporate leadership teams, actually. I haven't even shared it yet. But
that's awesome. A lot of exclusives today,
I
Tara.
know.
We should have these more often.
I know. Well, when your mindset is one of gratitude, again, the universe keeps giving and keeps giving and keeps giving.
Exactly. And I believe when you lead with the intention to serve,
Yes.
the intention to transform people's lives, you attract more positive things to your world, and you attract the right people. And more importantly, the universe detracts the wrong people from your path, even without you knowing it.
Yep.
So that good karma, that good energy, when you're leading to help others without knowing, irrespective of what you believe in, the bad stuff that could have hurt you or that could have, derailed you in ways that you don't know will be removed. Those obstacles will be removed. So I strongly believe that leading with the intention to serve, with the intention to impact, because you never know, your words could be hitting somebody who is at their lowest point. And
Yep.
people have this public facade. You never know who that is. So, and I did, get to know Tara through her content online, and I felt that there was that positive energy about you, that you want to make a difference. You want to impact as many people as possible. And I truly believe you can.
Oh, thank you so much for your belief in me, Nadia. It means so much to me.
That's awesome. And what besides your book, your awesome upcoming TED Talk, is there any other tips about gaining confidence as a business leader you'd like to share with our audience, like almost like a summary?
Yeah, absolutely. Believe in yourself. Honestly, you've accomplished so much. One of the biggest things that I want everybody to take away is that your struggle, your adversity, your hardships, your turmoil, your trauma is not necessarily separate from your purpose and not necessarily separate from, what you want to do, your dreams. Maybe all of that was gearing you up for resiliency to give you that full equipment so that you could take on a challenge really large. So I just want everybody to know, no matter what you're going through right now, you're not alone. The past, your struggles, could have been refining you for something even greater. And to keep the faith, the self belief that if you just keep taking action through that lens of gratitude, that foundation of gratitude, that your life will not just change, but it could also be saved. And then that infectious energy is going to rub off on others. And pretty soon you're going to be surrounded by people that want the same for you, that are supporting you, that love you, that want to see you succeed and go to the moon if you want. It takes consistent action and self belief, but anybody can do this.
That's awesome. That's great advice. I have a couple questions
Sure.
for business leaders out there because they lead through uncertainty, they lead through tough times. We've covered the confidence and how it can impact their businesses. How do they make confident decisions under uncertainty?
Well, there's no such thing as certainty, right?
Mm-hmm.
That, and they say the only consistent thing in life is change. So, change is inevitable, growth is optional. So, lead through uncertainty just like you would lead if you thought there was certainty with something. We never know the outcome of anything, but show up confidently and authentically. And, when we are our authentic selves, when we do have self belief, when we are confident, people will follow you. And in my book, I talk about confidence as if it has a power of gravitation itself. Highly competent people attract like magnets. They attract success. They attract talent. They attract, that like energy. So keep that in mind as you're going through uncertain times and navigating uncertainties as a leader, to remain confident through those times. And guess what? Your people will believe in you that much more and they'll follow you because of it.
That's awesome. So now you are leading confidently, irrespective of the certainty level through your path. How do you project that confidence into your team so they can level up too?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, teach them. I think that's really key as a leader. Don't tell people about confidence, teach them confidence. So, if you're a confident leader naturally, why don't you teach others? What do you do? What are your secrets, right? Show others by your inspired action. Teach them and lead by example, right? Um, Nobody learns how to do anything necessarily by just reading words on paper. They have to also take action. But they expect a leader to take action as well and to lead by example. I think that is so key. So, as you're going through your leadership journey, just know that your team, they need a leader, but we can't lead a team of many without leading a team of one first. So we have to take care of ourselves as a leader first. We can't pour out of an empty pitcher. Make
Mhm.
sure we're practicing self care and just taking care of ourselves physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever, because we cannot show up and lead a team if we don't first do it for ourselves.
Mhm. Those are great points. Where does vulnerability fit
Oh,
along with confidence and leadership within the? How do you balance the two?
it's everything. Gosh. I think, you know, when I was in the corporate world, I had to wear a mask every day. I wasn't vulnerable. I didn't feel like I fit in. I didn't feel like I could share my real authenticity to the world. And because of that, I couldn't lead confidently. So for me, vulnerability and authenticity they're just totally interconnected. I want people to see the personal transformation I've undergone in my life and inspire them to do the same and give them the tools and show them the way through my own personal action. I think people have a lot of respect for a leader that's vulnerable. It's not weak. It's not a weakness at all. It is an absolute strength because nothing takes more courage than to be vulnerable and authentic. Nothing.
And can you comment on where does empathy falls into this whole, picture?
Yes. So empathy is huge. It's everything in leadership. I have a whole signature keynote on empathetic leadership. I think of as, an employee, if I was stuck in a toxic work environment, I didn't feel like anybody had empathy for me, for my situation. But let us understand that we're all hurting on some kind of level. We all have some kind of a pain that we're dealing with, some battle, some inner struggle. The best thing that we can do for our team is to lead with empathy and lead with that lens of kindness and love, because we never know what someone's going through. So in order to be an effective leader, you have to be an empathetic one. You have to realize that they're human. They're going to make mistakes, but you also have to be there for them because we don't know what they're going through. And, you know, it could be the make or break difference to change somebody's life, or not. And I choose to change people's lives.
Those are awesome. And I had this like not struggle, but trying to balance. How do you lead authentically as
Mm,
yourself and still have boundaries
yes.
that separates your work life, family or things outside of work, and still be present, show vulnerability, show up authentically in an empathetic way. And I really believe that women, and there are actually studies that showed that when they did, and that was in 150 plus countries, they did the empathy scale, and
Hmm.
they perform way better than their male counterparts.
Hmm.
And that's a huge competitive advantage that you can put yourself in the other person's shoe. That the trick is to how much do you balance, what to share. I would call it strategically, sharing, not everything, but enough so that you can mobilize, you can inspire, and show your team that you're there for them if they need to. And you
Yeah.
create an environment that is psychologically safe for them to speak up,
Yes,
to show up
absolutely.
as themselves. And you should be worried if your most critical person on the team goes quiet. That's a red flag. That means
Yeah.
you, as a leader, you're not creating a space where they can bring in, whether problems or any even their authentic self, that belonging in the workplace. So once you do that, I think you'll elevate your team to a whole different level. You'll retain talent and you'll see more productivity. I love Richard Branson's quote: train your team so they can
Yes.
go anywhere, and treat them well so they choose not to.
Yes. That's everything. That's everything.
That
It's so
that
key.
sums up leadership for
Yes.
me, and like confidence, because you're confident that you're treating them right, you're giving them the tools. They can go anywhere, but
Yep.
they choose not to because of your leadership.
Absolutely. And that's another power of authenticity too. You know,
Exactly, exactly. We have
people
one
like that
question
authenticity.
here.
Oh,
Let's
yes.
see. Show up question. How do you improve communication skills?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I think it depends on the scenario. So, what kind of communication are we talking about? Are we talking about in person communication? Are we talking about on social media? But,
Mhm.
the first thing I think of when I think of communication, I consider the person, I consider their time. I'm not going to ever write a long, if we're talking about an email or a LinkedIn
Mhm.
exchange, a long, lengthy communication, I'm going to introduce myself, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm thinking of a networking scenario, I think of what would this be like in real life? How would I
Mm-hmm.
approach this person in real life? And then I
Mm-hmm.
approach that person the exact same way on social media as I
Mm-hmm.
would in real life. And I think we all need to think about doing that a little bit more and a little bit more efficiently, because
Yeah.
I think that's very underutilized. But let's put the humanity back in communication. And I assure you that it will be much more highly received than if we have a different approach. And it looks more confident too. And again, it builds trust.
That's awesome. This is the shortest hour I've had in a long time. It's
Has
a
it been an hour?
It
Wow.
has been an hour, and it feels like we're just having a chat in a coffee shop or something.
I could
And
go on forever.
so do I. So do I. But out of respect for our audience, um, it's been a pleasure having you over. I enjoyed tremendously our conversation, and I hope our audience will too. If you'd like to connect with Tara, please feel free to reach out to her her um, on her link tree, so you can find all awesome stuff that are going on with her. Go ahead, and I highly recommend you get her book, and the huge bonus for a course, a digital course to complement it, so you can transform your life as she did hers, and she's helping many more. You can be part of this journey on her path towards becoming a New York Times bestseller. And I really believe that will happen. And this is the first book of many to come. And I'm rooting for you, and I hope all the best to you. As you know, I'm Dr. Nadia Boutaoui. I help women entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs in general in the healthcare tech space not only gain clarity, but grow their leadership and business so they can help more people. Because I strongly believe that technologies don't help anyone if they don't make it to the market. You can find out about what I do on my LinkedIn profile. You can connect with me there and follow me for further information to level up your professional growth and business use, especially using artificial intelligence. Any last comment, Tara?
Believe in yourselves. You can do anything. If I can do it, so can you. Your adversity is a gift, your failure is a triumph. Just keep pushing and don't give up.
That's awesome. That's beautifully said. And with that, thanks, audience who are watching us live or the ones watching us on the recorded session too. I encourage you to reach out to Tara and go get her book. And with that, I will see you next week. Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.